Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you.
Good, good. It's the afternoon now, so I'm sure you've... it's actually going for almost 3.
I know, I can't believe it.
How's your Ndawa experience so far?
Wow, it's been great. It's the first time I've been to one.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it's just amazing, you know, all the people I've been meeting, you know, everything that you get to see. The seminars have been great. So, yeah, it's very, very interesting and exciting.
Brilliant. Let me roll the intro. Welcome to the Transnet podcast. We're on the sidelines of Mining Indaba 2024, and we are finding new ways of doing business for the future of African mining. And today with me, I have Michelle van Buren Schele. Got that right?
That's fine.
Perfect.
Yes.
Who's the GM for commercial at TPT?
That's correct.
Now, I want to just jump into TPT as an organization. I want to jump into sort of the crucial role that it plays in the value chain that is and the interconnected value chain that is all of the ODs at Transnet.
Okay. Well, obviously TPT is critical to South Africa, to industry, to growth. I mean, if you think about it, a country is just like a big business, right?
Yeah.
And to earn revenue, that business needs to sell goods.
Yeah.
Why? How does South Africa sell goods? It exports them through its harbours, and we also obviously purchase stuff as well. So it's basically our gateway to the international markets. And if you look at it in that sense, I mean, you can just see the incredibly important role that TPT has to play in South Africa.
So let's maybe look at sort of the efficiencies and the effectiveness of how TPT deals with mining customers and how you work together and what those efficiencies are and how that is working out right now.
Okay. So mining is another game in the sense that, you know, very often TPT and TFR have to work very closely. You know, when you're looking at mining minerals, it's bulk cargo, it generally comes in via rail. So you've got to make sure, you know, the organization between TPT and TFR is spot on. We rely a lot on rail. Obviously, they rely on us. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, those efficiencies, it really covers the entire supply chain, from the mine, through rail, at the ports. Now, speaking from the port side, because obviously that's what I'm more familiar with, I think generally our operations in the bulk area, mining, Saldanha, PE bulk terminal, and we've also got Richards Bay, have been very good. You know, Saldanha's historically has been a world-class terminal. However, what has happened is efficiencies have been affected of late because of the delay in investments in our bulk terminals. And now we're playing catch-up. And I think, you know, there's a lot of collaboration between us, TFR, and customers. And in fact, we're working with customers to see how we can refurbish our current equipment, buy new equipment, get it into the port as quickly as possible. And all these things, you know, if done correctly, will bring us back to the efficient operations that we used to be. And that's what we're aspiring for. Win-win for everybody.
Perfect. Let's actually dive a little bit deeper into that infrastructure, sort of that CapEx on infrastructure. What are some of the key infrastructure projects that are going to be rolled out in the pipeline, pertaining mainly to the mining aspect of the operations? What are some of those, and maybe give us a little bit of a deep dive into why those key projects and what you're hoping to achieve from them?
Okay, so, you know, one of the key projects is a lot of investments is taking place on the rail side to get the rail right, because the rail delivers the cargo to the port, right? So I'm not sure of the exact amounts that's being spent, but it's billions going into rail infrastructure, both in Saldanha as well as PE. Yeah. Now, on TPT side, the big investments that we're looking at is replacement of our tipplers. Our tipplers are past their useful lives, bringing an additional tippler into the Saldanha terminal, which will create redundancy and improve our capacity and our efficiencies. But apart from the tipplers, a lot of the equipment in the Saldanha terminal has reached the end of life and needs to be replaced. Our ship loaders as well, which obviously is important. Your ship loaders actually load the cargo onto the ships, and your tipplers bring it off the rail. So, if you want your system to be fluid, you've got to have both.
100%.
And you've got to have both working properly. So, again, even in TPT, we're looking at billions. And that investment's not just done in a couple of months. It's over the next couple of years. At the PE bulk terminal, the terminal is very old. It's past its useful life. It is going to be shut down when we get the new manganese export terminal operating at Nucha. There again, and also a lot of investment that's going to take place, and we are engaging with and working with the private sector to see, number one, how we can speed things up, opportunities to leverage investment financially. So there really is, the whole approach in Transnet and TPT has changed a lot in the last couple of years. We look to see how we can work with the private sectors to get things done faster, cheaper, more efficiently. And I think that collaboration is very important. The same with Richards Bay. Lots being done there as well. We need new equipment. Also the rail issues. And the rail issues aren't all, it's not all like a failing from TFR side. I mean, I'm sure you're aware of the challenges.
100%.
Where tracks are sabotaged. Where the copper cables are stolen. So they've got to deal with all those things as well. But obviously, if they're not flowing, we're not flowing. And of course, on our side, there's a lot that we need to do. The tipplers in Richards Bay are also all old. They need to be replaced. Our way of moving our our bulk mining materials. Now, Richards Bay, you've got chrome and magnetite, which are our biggest volumes, right? Our methods of handling it are still pretty manual. I think in time we'll look at bringing in more conveyor belts and those kind of things to speed up those operations.
And automate a lot more of those processes. Brilliant. I want to look at digitization. I want to understand maybe what TPT is doing in terms of leveraging technology to make port operations a lot more enhanced but more effective.
So I think there's a lot that needs to be done in that space. And traditionally, we've also lagged there. I think from digitization, what we're looking at is making sure the network infrastructure is improved across our terminals. And that's important because you can't digitize anything without that infrastructure
100%.
working properly. And then we're looking at remote operations in the container sector, looking at better operating systems in our bulk terminals. I think at the end of the day, the more you can rely on semi-automation, digitization, the faster and more effective you would be. So there is a lot that needs to be done in terms of investing in that digital infrastructure. But I think right now, our focus really much is very much in getting the equipment, the big equipment in. But definitely there is scope, and I know the guys are working on how we can become more digital and automate a lot of the transactions processes themselves as well.
Now, you had touched on a very interesting aspect when you spoke of the challenges that we know are happening at certain ports. Now, South African ports as a whole are facing challenges. Now, how is TPT ensuring that our ports remain globally competitive but also regionally competitive? Because we're seeing that some of the cargo is starting to go to our neighboring ports. So what are some of the, I'd say, implementations that are underway, the plans and executions that are underway to make sure that we still keep what we have and grow it?
So I think the response, whether it's regional or international, is pretty much the same, right? So I think right now we are playing catch up to some extent, and a lot of investment has taken place in other African ports. But with our focus on digitization, re-equipping our ports, and across TPT, our ports need a lot of equipment. I'm talking bulk equipment, cranes, tipplers, etc. And looking at a more automated approach would definitely make us more competitive.
Yeah.
But we've got to get our end-to-end infrastructure right.
Yeah.
I think also what we're doing is we're also going on the reskilling of our people, right? Because with new technology and new equipment, you need different skills.
100%.
And there's a lot of focus on that. Also, over time, you know, people leave, they retire, they go find something else. So we're going to make sure that somehow we keep the skills within our business.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is retraining on a regular basis. We've brought in international people from Navis to assist our guys in, you know, building up and replenishing skills that we've lost. Upskilling basically. We've also brought in planners. So really there's a big focus not just on the equipment side, but on the human capital people as well as systems and RT. So really you've got to be able to address all three of those if you want to be competitive.
Brilliant. Now we've had 30 years of Indaba, 30 years of democracy. What do the next 30 years look like for TPT? And I want you to take us into the future and give us what the perfect picture looks like.
Wow, that's quite a difficult question to answer. But I think, you know, long term, you know, we're looking to become a business that is internationally competitive. I think we might even look to see how we can grow outside of our traditional logistics chain, you know, as simple port operations. We're branching out into back of ports, which feeds into your ports.
Yeah.
And, you know, there are so many other opportunities, and the world keeps changing all the time.
Yeah.
And I definitely think one of the things we are definitely looking at is moving, you know, deeper into logistics, trucking, warehousing, also, you know, just connecting shipping lines with customers.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of things that we looking at into the future to become this dynamic logistics enterprise, along with TFR and our other sister ODs. But the immediate focus is getting back to basics and getting us there. You know, getting us operating efficiently and effectively, ensuring that we delight our customers, meet their expectations. But I also think there's a lot of focus on private sector participation, and that could be a way to get us into markets that we're completely unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
Warehousing, logistics outside of port, trucking, distribution. Yeah. And I definitely see us, you know, moving into those areas and doing it along with private partners that can skill us and help us understand, you know, that environment.
The dynamism of that new environment.
So, and I think that the whole collaborative approach is a win-win for both sides.
Brilliant. Michelle van Buren Schele, the GM for commercial at TPT, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing so freely. And may the future be exactly that, more collaborative, back to basics, and obviously making sure that we stay on the right side.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much. It was great chatting, and I'm looking to make the best out of this Indaba.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.